G'day folks, it's Rob here, and in this week's clip we're going to be looking at the Galangal that's been growing in the aquaponics system for about 20 months now. So it was growing while the system was being run as an aquaponics system with fish in there before we renovated and removed the fish. But for the last year or so she's been running on organic hydroponics, so basically been using fish hydrolysate and fish emulsion to provide nutrients to the system. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll bring you in, we'll have a bit of a look at the plant, we'll give her a bit of a haircut, pull her out of the clay and see how much we end up with. So I thought I'd start off by giving you a bit of a look at how tall she's growing. She's grown probably about 1.5 foot or roughly about 45 centimeters over the top of the top hoop of the hoop house. So she's actually done rather well. We've been very impressed with her growth. Down here you'll be able to see that she's actually putting on new growth down here, new shoots are coming through. Something to note here is the clay level. It might be a bit hard for you to make out, so we'll bring the camera down low. That's the top of the bed there, and the root or the rhizome has actually pushed the clay up. I have a feeling we're going to end up with a rather sizable harvest, a lot more than what we know what to do with. So just around the other side of the bed here, you can probably make out just how much clay she's pushed up, and there is a little bit down on the ground there. So definitely time to remove this lady from the grow bed. Another reason why I'd like her out of here is because we are pulling down the aquaponics system and we are looking at redesigning the whole lot. Yeah, I suppose the first thing I really need to do is hoe into this with some secateurs, remove the greenery, and then I'll try and be as gentle as I can to remove the root without losing too much media over the side of the bed. I also need to watch out for Bianca's little plant here. I'll try not to damage it too much, but it's got to come out of the bed as well. Now, Galangal is one of my favourite gingers to grow. We use it in a lot of our Indonesian and Thai inspired meals, curries mainly. Some people think it's a lot more spicy than ginger. I don't think so. I think it's a little bit more aromatic, a little bit lighter in flavour if anything, but it still does have a bit of a spicy afterkick. These guys also produce a beautiful little flower that we didn't really see many of on this aquaponically grown plant, but we have seen on our soil ones. They are edible as well, but I will warn you, they offer quite a peppery kick, a lot more so than the actual rhizome does itself. So I've disturbed a mantis. Come on fella, on your bike, move along, while I was chopping down that galangal. So we'll just make sure he's out of the way before I do any more cutting. So we'll just knock off the last few stalks here and get them out of the way. And as you can see, some of them have actually grown through the shade cloth. I'll just toss these guys to one side. So just digging down through here, you can see all the roots. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot in the bed. This bed's running as a constant flood at the moment, which means that there's no bell siphon in here. I've just got a standpipe, as you can see down there, and a load of roots in the shroud. In fact, this shroud, I don't know if you can make it out there, is on a bit of a lean, and that is due to this galangal pushing it over. So probably should have harvested it last year, but because of our other galangal plants in the patch, I didn't really see a need to. So I'm going to stop nattering on. I'm going to try and work out how to remove this clay without spilling it so we can get all this rhizome out. So I've got myself a couple of buckets. I'm going to try and remove as much of this clay as possible just by scraping it into this rather large net pot. I have a feeling I'm going to lose some clay over the back, but that's to be expected. That's not wanting to budge at all. Oh dearie me. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut down this side and yeah, just try and break it off a little bit at a time. I mean, it is amazing to think that all this root mass has grown from a single small little bit of rhizome popped in about 20 months ago. So I've found with other plants like the turmeric and the ginger are grown in the aquaponics. Yeah, they do put on quite a bit of growth, and you can check out that little playlist up there that shows a couple of them. I think what's holding this in is a lot of the roots down below. Oh, So a lot of these roots are going straight down into the media, and as you can see, they do put out quite a lot. So a lot of the problem is the roots all down below holding her in. So I'll try and cut them off. This one should come out a lot easier now. So there we go. Combination of cutting underneath and the fork does a great job of getting these guys out. I'm going to see if I can take this out in 2 lots now. Try cutting these clumps in 2 again. There we go, a little bit better separation there. Might just try from this side here. Oh, there we go. That's the massive roots from the Galangal. This is going to be one fun bit of cleaning up to do. I think what I can do is just cut through this massive roots. So there we go, a nice big square chunk of Galangal. It does look very pretty down in there. So now for this last chunk. So there you go, look at that root mass. It's rather impressive. So anyway, I'm going to try and clean up this Galangal a little bit so we can have a bit of a rough weigh-in. Oh, by the way, Lizzie's down here helping. Thanks, Lizzie. Thank you, sweetie. So about the easiest way I can see to clean this stuff up is trying to find where it's connected in sections to the mother clump and try and cut through that area. Oh, I tell you what, she's a tough old bird. There we go. There's a whole heap of roots down there holding her on. And just shaking out any clay that's in there. Then coming through and using the snips just to take off these big roots. The reason being is they're a little bit too fibrous just to pull off. So I'll just go through and nip them off quickly. Thought I saw a couple of slug eggs in there. So we definitely have a bit of an issue with slugs in the system. We'll flick this one out for the birds, I think. There's actually a few bits in here. Oh, look. And there's a friendly critter. These little guys we want to keep. A little compost worm. We get them all through the aquaponic grow bed. So give him over to Kira and she can go put him back in the system. Thanks, sweetie. There's still some more clay in there. But those compost worms, they're great at breaking down all this detritus, bits of organic matter that is created by plants in the system. They don't break it down to the point where all of them can be taken up by the grow beds. So they still leave a couple of solids in there. But it's a lot better to have it broken down to that point than just have it floating around in there. So we're also taking off the top of the stalks as well, down to about there. And that's pretty much what we're putting to one side to process. So all these little bits of roots and stem that I'm snipping off here are going to end up being composted. I'm just popping them over into another container and yeah, they'll just end up in a compost heap somewhere. And all this media down in here, I'm just going to leave it in the tray after I go through looking for compost worms and put it out in the sun to dry out, and then just try and winnow out any of the light dried out sections of root and organic matter. And yeah, that way I can reclaim the clay. So the clay won't be going back in the bed either, because I'll pretty much will be taking that grow bed offline this week now, getting ready for the aquaponic system remodel.
Maybe put that in the wrong bucket.
Thank you. So I think I should probably just hook into this and stop nattering, because we're supposed to be taking Bianca out for her birthday dinner in about 45 minutes time. So I might have to pick this up tomorrow morning if I don't get it all done beforehand. So folks, I've just got back from our birthday dinner with Bianca. And this is the harvest we got, just in this little crate here. Obviously there's small little bits and pieces that still need to come off. Thought I'd leave this stalk on here to make this piece easier to find. And just to show you some of the older root section, this would have been root section that grew from last season. And all these pinker bits down here would have been fresh growth from this season. So there's a fair bit. There's that bit there, that bit, another bit. So there is a fair bit of the older, more woody, fibrous galangal in here. But what I'm really after is this younger stuff here. I'll be processing a lot of this to pop into the freezer, just as minced galangal, or you can freeze the whole lot if you want. Just take off these little manky bits here and freeze it the section whole, because you'll find that the fibers break down a bit in the defrosting process when they come out of the freezer. And then you can just run them through a food processor, or pummel them well in a mortar and pestle, just to get them ready to go into curries or stews, or however you want to use it. In fact, if you want to see how we've stored other spices, there'll be a bit of a link up there to a ginger clip. That just shows, I think there's 7 ways in that clip there on how I've looked after ginger, either to use in the kitchen or to grow for the next season, and many of them are applicable for the galangal as well. So what I thought I might do is I might just tidy up this bit here and then pop all the root sections into this basket, and we'll get the luggage scales onto it just to see what sort of a yield we got here, keeping in mind that, you know, it isn't a competition, but a lot of people are interested in you know, just how much a harvest like this weighs. So I'll just set up the camera. So I'll just nip off that stalk there and place the rest of this in. Hopefully I can get it all to sit low enough so we can use the scales. So that gives you a bit of an idea on how this stuff grows a little bit differently to normal ginger. Sort of grows out in shoots that then become stems as well, with just a small little bit of fibrous tissue down the bottom there that you can use. So just to go over again quickly how we're going to be using this galangal. It will pretty much will be used as either root rhizome to give to other people to grow, and a lot of it will be just processed and popped in the freezer for us to use through the year. So I haven't zeroed off with this basket, but I'll do that after the fact, so we can subtract it from this total. And we're in kilos, so we'll see if we can lift it up here. Wait for it to go beep. There we go. And 8,720 grams. I'll bring this closer for you. So there we go, 8.72 kilos, or 8,720 grams. So yeah, not a bad little harvest, but yeah, there is still little bits that need to be removed, and some of this older, more woody galangal. Obviously you can use it, but I won't be. I do hope you enjoyed this little bit of a harvest clip. I really enjoy harvesting the spice in particular, because you're never quite sure what's going to be under the soil, or in this case the clay, in the aquaponics, until you get it all out and cleaned up. Just before I go, I really do need to thank all you folks who are supporting the channel, whether it's by watching the clips here or supporting us through Subscribestar, the YouTube membership board, or just through PayPal, as a few of you are. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate the support. Time to swap arms. And don't forget to check out the super contributors down in the description below. It'd be fantastic if you could jump on over to their websites or their Facebook pages and show them some love. I'd really appreciate that. Now I'm off down to do a little bit of snooping around the aquaponics. I do hope you're all well and happy, and I'll catch you later. Cheers all.